Welcome back to Meaningful Conversations Live with Beata. I am Beata Seweryn-Reid, your host, coach, speaker, and I'm so thankful that you are here with me every Tuesday at noon, where we grow and brighten our life through the stories of my guest speakers. And I have very special guest today, again for you, Amber Fuhriman. Amber, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on today.
I'm so thankful for having you here. And our topic for today is very touchy, a lot of us, we struggle with that. So the topic for today is I will be happy when moments. Amber, before I will ask you, I want our audience to know who Amber is. So she is an attorney, still immigration attorney. She is NLP master practitioner and success architect. She is a woman of many talents. She also has a Facebook group called More Than Corporate that we can talk later about. Is there anything else that I did not mention and you are doing?
No, I think you hit it all. Thank you.
Absolutely. So my first question is, you, Amber, call yourself a success architect. What does success mean to you, Amber?
So success to me has changed throughout my life. And that's one of the reasons that I'm so passionate about talking to people about it. But for me now, success is being able to have the freedom to live my life on my terms, being able to travel when I want to, being able to step away from work when I want to or need to spend time with my family. And while I'm doing all of that, making a positive impact in people around me. This is why I stay in the legal field, because I see the impact that I make on my clients. It's why I stepped into the coaching field, because I saw that my experiences brought such a different perspective to people's lives and problems. And it was a way for me to be able to add value to their life. So success for me is kind of twofold: living my life on my terms and making an impact that's going to last much longer than I do, and leaving that legacy that everybody wants to leave.
I love it. Especially living life on your own terms speaks to me so directly, because I feel like I did not live my life on my own terms for a very long time, because there were jobs that were more important than my own dream. And you help business owners, entrepreneurs to build their businesses and their life according to their dreams. Is that true?
Yeah. So, the majority of where I start with my clients is in this idea of defining your life. And I try to get all of my clients to come into my mastermind, which is 12 weeks long. It's called the Define Your Life Mastermind. And, you mentioned that you for a long time, you didn't live life on your terms. And one of the biggest reasons that happens for people is that they don't look at what they actually want to be. So they're out there building a career, whether it's in the corporate world, doctor, attorney, whatever it is, you're out there building this career without thinking about what it's going to do for your quality of life, without thinking about whether or not you're going to be able to live life on your terms if you have that job. So once you get there, you have this amazing job, but then you have this life that you're not happy with. So I do things backwards with my clients. I have them design their dream life. What does this perfect life look like to you? Now let's look at what careers and how you can make money to support that life instead of the other way around. Because the other way around inevitably ends with you having this amazing career and then wondering how you're going to fit your life into that. And it never works.
Well, that's perfectly said, because my next question is, about your life before you found your and created your perfect life. So life, you in your bio and your other interviews that I listened to, you were talking about this beautiful attorney life that every people can be and probably were jealous of, but you were not enjoying it. So what was your I will be happy when moment, and how does it look? It did look like at that moment when you were living high life, but actually not inside. Inside, you were still waiting for something different. How was it?
Yeah. So interestingly, I can vividly remember a conversation that I had with my grandma when I was a teenager, where I told her that one day I was going to make six figures and all of my problems were going to disappear. And, we think about that now. And I don't know when six figures became this magic number that everybody thinks is going to cause all of their problems to go away, because it's really not that much money. I mean, it's a lot of money, but the seven figures is the six figures of 20 years ago, right? So I kept telling myself, I'm going to make six figures and all problems are going to disappear. As I figured out how I wanted to do that, that's where I ended up going to law school. Going to law school for me wasn't necessarily about the law. I loved it, and it was to an extent. But the entire time I was in law school, I was thinking, I'm going to be this high profile attorney. I'm going to have all of this respect. And it's the way to get me to this six-figure moment where everything's going to be okay. And we work so hard towards that because we really convince ourselves that this is all we need to do, is get to this point, whatever that's been defined as. Another place it shows up a lot is in weight. People say, I just need to lose that 50 pounds and then I'll be okay. But the person you are before you make that money or lose that weight is the same person that you are after that moment. And so all of those insecurities and all of the self-doubt and all of the problems that you had before follow you into this after moment as well. So for me, I hit my I'll be happy when moment in 2016. And what it ended up looking like wasn't rainbows and unicorns and happiness. It was panic attacks and anxiety attacks and, this therapy and almost depression, because I had been compartmentalizing so much in my life, thinking that if I just ignored all of these emotions and all these problems that I was having for long enough, that when I hit that $100,000 mark, I was never going to have to deal with them. And when I hit it, I tell people that the most dangerous thing that can happen when you tie your happiness to an external version of success is that you just might hit it. Because when you do and all of your problems don't disappear, your idea of what to actually expect out of the world is completely shattered and you don't know how to move on. And that's what happened to me. And it was during those conversations with my therapist of telling her how big of a failure I felt like as I'm working in court every day, the first person in my family to go to college and a six-figure income. And I said, all I've ever wanted in my life is to be successful. And that's when she asked me, what does a success mean to you? And I have spent the next 4 years making it my mission to encourage people to ask that question early and often in their lives.
Wow, beautiful. And I love that you mentioned that when you felt so low and you lost your identity, basically, you did reach out for professional help. You did not stay alone and hopeless at this moment, because, we all need at some point in our lives help. And it's not a shame to ask for help, especially when you reach basically the rock bottom. Anxiety, the panic attacks, it's something that needs some help from the outside. You cannot deal with it by yourself, because it's very hard to see inside on the box, without someone's professional opinion. And it was therapies for you there. Maybe you are not, whoever is watching us, maybe you are not that low, so maybe you need mentor or coach, but don't be ever ashamed to reach out for help.
Yeah, I love that so much. And what you talked about is so important, that rock bottom, right? Because we never think we need help. And whether we're talking coach, mentor, therapist, like my family had been telling me that they thought that I should seek counseling for years before I actually did, but I couldn't see it, right? I'm not that bad. I'm not that person, right? I don't need that. And it took that rock bottom of, for the first time in my life, not being able to compartmentalize, for the first time in my life, not being able to work full days, for the first time in my life, feeling like everything that I had worked so hard for was falling apart and I didn't know how to move on. And so for me, that was my rock bottom. I wish that I would have had the forethought to seek help much earlier, because I may have avoided that rock bottom. But the important thing for people to notice or to remember is that, you can't force somebody to get help. The only thing you can do is plant those seeds that it's okay, because until that person thinks that they actually need it, there's nothing that's going to make them go. So unfortunately, most people's stories of coming back and building this amazing life for themselves includes a rock bottom where they were finally willing to admit that they needed somebody else in their life.
Absolutely. And that relates so much with what I do with change and transition. And we are because it's required, your condition required to change. Your results were not what you wanted. So there has to be a place for change, but we are so afraid of change. Change is like, oh my gosh, I don't know. And like you said, you didn't think that you need help because you are very strong personality. You are very ambitious person. I believe you have strong character, and I can do it on my own. Yes. How many entrepreneurs and business owners like, I can do it? No, I'll be fine. And the rock bottom is lower and lower, and then it's hard to go back. So I love that we touched that topic as well, because especially today, with what is going on around the world, I think we need that encouragement to reach out for help, even just to talk, even just to say, hey, I don't really feel okay today. Just be there for me. And I think often that is the hardest part, to say, just be there for me. We don't even have to talk, because it says that maybe I'm not enough, maybe I'm not strong enough. And we humans, we don't like to admit that there is something that we don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And, one of the things that I've learned over the last couple of years is that it's amazing what we as human beings can become comfortable with,
Right.
And again, this happens in all areas of life. It happens but the areas that come the most to me are weight and mental health, because those are the two that you hear people talk about the most. And you get so comfortable being unhealthy. You get so used to being unhealthy that you don't know you're unhealthy. That's just your life. So you get so used to for me, I got so used to being emotionally unstable that I didn't know I was emotionally unstable. That was just life. And I didn't understand until I actually went to therapy and started healing and started gaining control of my emotions, that I was truly in a really rough spot for a long time. But we get used to it. We normalize it. We think that that's the way life's supposed to be because that's all we know. And that prevents you from seeking out so many times. So that outside perspective is important for so many reasons. One of the biggest is helping you realize that what you're going through isn't normal. It doesn't have to be your life.
Wow, I love it. And when we go and search for help, finally we realize that there are many others that they have the same issue, that they have the same struggles. And also some of them already overcame these struggles. So we have someone who can show us at least direction where we can go. And we need directions in life. At least I need, because if someone like you coach successful people to move them even more farther in their success, I like to follow successful people because I know that they already walk the path that I have to still go through. And before I ask another question, I want to say hi to all of our listeners. We have Nancy, Tanya, we have Garlene, Nancy again. I lost you for a second. Nampumelelo, thank you so much, ladies, for being here with us. Tarja is saying hi. Garlene is saying hi. Garlene is saying hi, Amber. And Nancy is saying, this is why support groups are so great for me. Absolutely. Do not ever, ever stay alone in your struggles. Do not. And my next question is, after going through all what you went through, how do you define happiness today? What are your happy moments? Do you still waiting, or you are walking towards them?
The word happiness is so double-edged because we live in this society where people think you're supposed to be happy all the time. And like, the fact of the matter is life sucks sometimes and you're not happy. And that doesn't mean you're not successful, and it doesn't mean you're not fulfilled, and it doesn't mean that you're not doing amazing things in your life. You're just having a rough day. And so then somebody's like, oh, I got to go find this happiness. And I wish that people would just be okay not being okay for just a minute. One of my absolute favorite commencement speeches, I have a couple of videos that are rocks for me that I go back and listen to time after time after time again when I need just a reminder of what's important to me. And one of them is Brene Brown's The Power of Vulnerability, her TED Talk. The other one, though, normally surprises people. It's Charlie Day's commencement speech. He gave it in 1998. And one of the things he talks about is this issue of happiness. And he says, people say, do what makes you happy. He says, but I'm not always happy. I say, do what makes you great, because a lot of this is hard work. And it's not always fun. And that's the way that life is. Like, I don't want to be happy all the time, but I want to be great at what I do. And I want to make an impact in the lives of others. Happiness is this emotion. It comes and goes. You have your highs and your lows. And so like, hold on to those happy moments when you have them, but also understand that it's okay not to be happy. It's okay not to be okay all the time. Happiness and fulfillment and success are three very different things. And it's finding the way that they all balance into your perfect life so that you can make the most impact that you want to make on the world.
Absolutely. And Tanya, she confirmed making an impact is happiness. Garlene said it's a great way to prioritize the importance of experiences by setting reminders. Amber, happiness is growth through failures. I don't believe in failures. I think it's just the milestones that I have to go through, and it's the lessons that I have to learn so I can improve, so I can create something different than you called failure. And I'm so happy, and you just took that out of my mouth, when you said that it's okay. It's so okay. Do not be happy all the time, and actually live through your emotions, because our emotions are not always the high ones. Sometimes we are low, and actually feeling the emotions and going through them, like, oh my gosh, maybe you woke up with, you worry about your job, which is not stable, I'm not gonna ask you to jump out and say, oh, that's okay. Yes, it will be okay, and you will figure this out. But feeling down for, I don't know how long, depends, because I think we have to watch also how long we are sitting in that sadness. If it's too long, you need help. And I love always to talk, when I talk to my clients, they say, oh, I feel like I want to just hide in a rabbit hole. I said, okay, how long you want to sit there?
Yeah.
How long? It's important.
It is. And I'm so glad you brought that up, because I think it brings a really important point that's worth mentioning, that positivity and happiness are also two different things. So you can be really frustrated, you can be really upset, and really optimistic and positive at the same time. So holding on to that positive belief that things are going to get better for you, holding on to that optimism that, you know, if you work hard, life's going to turn out the way that you want it to. That's important, especially when you're not always happy. So, you know, I think that positivity piece of it is really important to separate from happiness as well.
Thank you for highlighting that. That is so true. And Garlene said, as a psychologist, I would say happiness is ever evolving. Of course. And like you, Amber, said, happiness is so same as success, same as fulfillment, means so much different things for different people. But going back to what we just said, I think another thing that is the most important is not sitting in inaction. You have to go to the world and do something, either about your happiness, success, fulfillment. Sitting in a rabbit hole or on your couch in your living room when you don't feel don't feel like you want to go anywhere, and waiting for this, I will be happy when, it's not gonna just come to you. You have to go out and take actions, take responsibility for your own life. Would you agree?
Agreed, 100%. 100%.
Okay. Anyone out there, if you have a question to Amber, it's the right moment to ask. I'm gonna go to the next question that I'm very excited about. I'm curious about your answer. Amber, if there is one thing that you see the world needs right now, what do you think that is?
All right, this is so cliche. Like, this is such a boring answer, and I'm so sorry. But the world needs like love and understanding right now. Like, it really needs people to understand that you can have different viewpoints and still care about each other, and still want, you can disagree with somebody and still want what's best for them at the same time. We are in such a place right now where you identify with one type of person and you're expected not to identify with anybody else. And you're supposed to stand in this like place where you kind of build this wall protecting you from other viewpoints and chastising anybody who disagrees with you. And it's just so counterintuitive to what we actually need to move the world forward. So understanding and like just caring and compassion and love. And like, I feel like I'm talking like I'm in the 60s, but yeah, that's like really what's missing right now.
But I think we always should go back to this fundamental, to the foundations of what we were born to be and what we were born to feel: love and kindness and curiosity and what is the word? I lost the word right now. Compassion. Yes, it's one of my favorite words. Feel compassion to people that maybe are not on your level of awareness, and help them to get aware, because like Amber said, you cannot make anyone to change. You cannot make anyone to go and get help if they don't grow to this awareness that, yes, I need that help. Okay, we have a lot of comments right now. Garlin is saying, Amber, what makes you feel passionate about the life you have lived so far, and what makes you be the best version of who Amber is right now? In short, what describes best being Amber?
That's an interesting question. So something that I don't always talk about a lot is this feeling of mortality. So I talk about my dad passing away often. So my dad passed away when I was 17. What I don't always talk about is the fact that he was 42 when he passed away. And at 17, I thought 42 was ancient, right? You think that they've lived this long life and done everything they want to do. Well, I'm 37. I'm going to be 38 this year. And the closer I get to 42, the more I realize how young my dad really was. And so that mentality of, we all say life is short. I've said life is short. I've had so much loss in my life that I've said life is short my entire life, but I never really understood it until I get closer and closer to knowing that if I was on my dad's trajectory, if I could go back in time, my dad would only have 4 years longer than what I'm currently alive to do everything he wants to do in the world. And that reminds me how short life really is. So for me, this idea of making an impact, this idea of knowing that tomorrow's not guaranteed, this idea of knowing that if you want to accomplish something in your life, if you want to make an impact in the lives of others, that now's the time to do it because you might not have an opportunity to do it later. That's really what's driving who I am now. And that's what allows me to push myself out of my comfort zone and do really uncomfortable things and things that I would normally not do in the past, because I know that I don't want to end this life with any regrets. And I want my legacy to live on much longer than I do. Just really quickly, you introduced me as a success architect, and there's a reason I branded myself that way. And that's because my dad built houses for a living. And so when I was sitting here thinking about this trajectory that I'm taking in my life right now, this idea to go into business coaching and do that side by side with my law practice, the number one thing that I thought of was impact. And I watched my dad build and this is going to sound so just foo-foo, but as I've gotten older, I can drive up and down the streets of my hometown and I can point to houses that my dad built. And I can see people living their life in those houses and building their families in those houses and having experiences and accomplishing their dreams in those houses. They have no idea who my dad is. But what he did allowed them to live in a place where they can accomplish their dreams. And that's what I want my business to do for other people.
I love it. Wow, that was so deep. And thank you for sharing. And even I have so many comments saying thank you for being so honest and sharing your personal story with us. What you said and stuck with me is tomorrow is not promised. So create whatever you call happiness, whatever you call success, and whatever you call living life on your own terms today. And I can tell that you are still, these emotions about your dad are still alive because you had, I can tell, special connection. But what I love about that you did not stay there in the sadness that he is not here today because of the impact he did on you. You decided to build your business and impact the future, the generations, people who can gain the wisdom from you and build lives and live on their own terms. That is so beautiful. Wow, I have Garlin and now Tarnia saying the time is now to do what you came to do. That is so true. Garlin said, I salute your vision of your inspiration coming from that. That is amazing. Wow. getting a little bit heavy here because life can be heavy, but tomorrow is not promised. So live it today. Don't wait and take actions. Next question is gonna take us a little bit on totally different path. I love about your passion and love for music. Well, I did my research and I was on your show. So tell us what song makes you dance like nobody is watching.
Oh, okay. So there's not just one. There's not just one. I am a music nerd for anybody who's out there that's listening. But right now, there is a new song that I found called "Laid Back" by Rain Johnson. That like I put that on in the mornings. It wakes me up in the mornings. It's something that I listen to all the time. And in my car, like I'm the crazy person that's dancing in her car and everybody's looking at her like she's insane. That's me constantly with music. And it's been the hardest part of this whole pandemic because I mean, I went to 40 concerts last year with one of my friends. I live in Vegas. You know, we have so many amazing opportunities to go to a pool and listen to someone play live music. And so I had all of these opportunities to be out at concerts whenever I wanted. And we counted it and did 40 of them. And then all of that was taken away this year. And I want live music back more than anything on the planet.
I wish you could do some moves for us. If you want, yeah.
Dance a little, right?
Yes. So, oh my gosh, thank you so very much. Thank you everyone who was with us today here. And Garlin, you are my favorite. You always help us to make this show better by asking questions. Everyone else, for your comments are touching my heart. Last question, almost. What would be your last advice or quote that you want to leave our audience with?
Okay, so I'm going to give advice and a quote. Is that okay?
All right.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
So this kind of goes in line with so much of what we've talked about today, but there is a quote that's going through a theme of my life right now that I really hold on to. I talked about this in my Facebook Live today. I found it on a meme maybe 6 months ago, and it says, "Don't give up your peace because chaos is comfortable." And we talk about being afraid to step into that better life because you don't know what it looks like. And so you sit in this spot where, you know, you're unhappy, you're unfulfilled, you're unsuccessful, but you know what that feels like. So don't give up your peace because chaos is comfortable. That's my quote. And then my advice, and this is really what I tell everybody that's looking for practical advice that they can take into improving their life. And it's just become 100% responsible for everything in your life. Put yourself in complete control of where your life is going. We can't control the things that happen to us. I talked about my dad today. Obviously, I was not in control of my dad passing away when I was 17. But you're right. I had a choice. I could either let that define me by sitting down and just being that parent, that kid who lost a parent, or I can turn that into something beautiful. So when there's this idea in the NLP world of the difference between being at cause for your life and being at effect for your life. And somebody who is in effect for their life makes excuses constantly. Somebody who is at cause for their life takes 100% responsibility for the situation that they're in. And the classic example that I can give is being stuck in traffic. When somebody shows up to a meeting late, you hear one of two things. "I'm sorry, I was late because of traffic." That person is at effect. Or, "I'm sorry, I was late because I didn't allow enough time to consider that traffic might be bad." When you take that approach, you become 100% in control of how you react to things, how things affect you, and where your life is going. And that control is so empowering. So my advice is to take 100% control over everything in your life.
I love it. I love it. And Tony Robbins says, if you want to achieve anything in your life, you have to first take responsibility for every single area of your life. So you just summarize it beautifully. So I promise the last question, how or what is the easiest way to connect with you?
So I'm on all social media platforms at Amber Ray Fuhriman, RAE. You can track me down there. I also have a Facebook community called the More Than Corporate Community. Feel free to jump in and join that. I would love to interact with you guys there and have you be a part of that. So either one of those places.
Thank you so much. And I have last comment. Love that 100% cause in the matter. Jessica is a wonderful person with wonderful story, and I hope she will come one day to my show. But today we are going to end that show, and I'm so thankful, Amber, for you being here with me, first of all. Second, for the impact that you create and that you turn your sorrows into gifts and you share it with others in this world, because we need it. We need how you said it, we need love. And through what you do, I can tell that you are sharing your love. And thank you for that. Thank you everyone who was with us for all your comments. Ali, I've seen your comments too. We have show tomorrow. Thank you so much. Everyone, we never know who might need that message today. So please share, like, comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and just help someone today. Help someone today. You can also find me on Facebook. Follow me on Instagram. My website is Beata Life Coaching, BEATA lifecoaching.com. But first of all, connect with Amber, because she's changing lives. She might be someone who can give you directions. We never know. Connect and get to know her more, get to know her community. Jessica said, you both are making an impact. Thank you for taking the time today to share. Absolutely, Jessica. That's why we are here. Have a wonderful day, Amber, and everyone else who is out there. I love you so much. Thank you for being here today with me.
Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it. It was amazing. And thank you for everything that you do, showing up so vulnerable and transparent and real every single week. It's so refreshing and making such an impact. So I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.